Well, boys, a new year is upon us. It's officially 2026, and dating continues to change and evolve at the same crazy rapid pace as AI and tech. So, here are my predictions for the future of dating in 2026 and beyond. And make sure that you do not have the attention span of a goldfish and you stick around to the end, because I'm going to end the video with the best step by step strategy to crush it in these modern times. It's going to be step by step, clear, concise, and easily applicable advice. So make sure that you stick around to the very end. All right, let's get into it. So what is the first trend? A little bit of bad news, but believe me, there's some good stuff coming on later on, is that pay for play as a trend will continue to explode because of social media, because of groupthink. So women are literally taking advice from females who get shit on in Dubai for $50,000 a pop. Men tend to look up to and take on role models for men from like other men who have achieved success in their life, whether it's success with their bodies, financial success, something with status, changing the world, but in some ways, like their accomplishments. Women equate value and role models to who looks good, to who looks hot. Like, she's beautiful. I think that should be my role model. And then, like I saw a video my friend sent me of like some Colombian woman who walked out to this parking garage and there was a brand new Mercedes Benz with a bow on it. Women are watching this stuff. And, I call it the rise of misandry content. We're going to talk a little bit about that later. But women saying, look, if he's not paying you, he ain't worth shit, yada, yada, yada. If he can't send you $150 to get your nails and hair done just off the strength of it alone, then forget him, he ain't worth shit. I think prostitution is going to become legalized in Las Vegas. Las Vegas is dying, it's evaporating. Gen Z or whatever, Gen Alpha, whatever they're called, whatever the new fucked up pussy ass generation of kids is called, yeah, they don't want to drink, they certainly don't want to gamble, they don't want to socialize, they don't want to go to nightclubs. Nightclubs are going to die out. That's another prediction. So I think the city of Las Vegas is in serious trouble. You see this talked about a lot, how, casinos are dead and it's empty. So it's going to become legalized. Prostitution is going to become legalized in Las Vegas. This is my prediction. And it will continue to get worse in terms of prostitution becoming legalized and just becoming acceptable in society until finally some type of tech or AI destroys this. So there'll be some type of VR helmet, or there'll be in the physical world a robot that you can buy, like a sex robot, that will do about 80% as good as a real woman. It'll feel like a woman. There's insanely high IQ people working on this problem right now. And when I get on these debates with other dating coaches, they tell me sometimes, oh, Casey, like, you're so hard on this pay for play thing. It's not as big as you think. And I'm wrapping up what I call hookers in denial into this pay for play category. A hooker in denial is a girl like this. Let's say you're in some city in Latin America and she says she's a nurse, and you take her out and you smash her for free. She doesn't charge you any money. And then the average guy says, well, she's not a hooker. I mean, she didn't charge me, so she doesn't charge anybody else. But what a hooker in denial is, so this said girl that you smash for free in some Latin American city, I'm a passport bro, I live in Latin America. You look up the salary, it's about $800 to $900 average salary for a nurse. But then her lifestyle, the spa days, the vacations, the brands that she wears, the apartment she lives in, the travel, everything, the restaurant she eats out at is easily $5 to $6K a month. So it's like, okay, bitch, your rent alone is $1,500, yet you make $900. I get it. You didn't charge me for sex, but like, I see your stories, I see your story highlights. And it's kind of insulting. Like they really think that we're, that dumb. So we're going to get more into like strategies and what to do about this later on. But dating automation, the service that I provide, where we literally get you a trained virtual assistant to impersonate you with your consent on dating apps and Instagram and find women that are your type, talk to them for you, and then pass them off to you when they're ready for a date, is going to be one of the best things to do, because it's going to get very, very hard to find a girl who's not an outright hooker. And I'm including OnlyFans, sugar babies, and hookers in denial. Like, you really don't want to date a girl that has an office job that pays, let's just use the United States as an example. She sells insurance, I don't know, whatever. She works in HR, but then her lifestyle is, doing all this and that. She's got Louis Vuitton, this, red bottoms, this, like, we know what's going on. And then also for other reasons, other trends I'm going to talk about, women are going to continue to become very masculine. And for many reasons, you're really going to have to do a large filtering process. And if you can, put yourself on more favorable dating markets, which we'll talk about, but there's so much garbage you're going to have to filter through that doing it all yourself is a daunting task. Most of you guys aren't bad at dating per se in terms of everything, your whole sexual market value, your looks, your height, your game, your charisma, your understanding of female psychology, but you just don't have the time. The flake rate, the ghost rate is extra high. You're not connecting very well with the majority of girls you're dating, and you want to get some help. Okay, so if you want help by doing this dating automation thing, go to my Instagram, which is RedbeardRants1, and message me the word assistant. Okay, RedbeardRants1 on Instagram. There'll be a clickable link in the description of this video. Message word assistant, and I will train an assistant for you to talk to girls in your voice and book dates for you automatically. Okay. The next trend is that money will continue to be the #1 most important thing that women are looking for. Look, girls like tall guys. Girls like hunky, buff guys. I'm not that buff, but girls like guys that are significantly, more buff than I am. But because of inflation and the ever-growing divide between the rich and the poor worldwide, but especially in the United States, but literally everywhere, is going to be the #1 thing, followed very closely by looks. Okay, so back in my day, I'm 37 years old, but back in my day, the most charismatic guy in the room, the guy with the biggest personality, not the biggest height, the biggest muscles, the biggest wallet, was the guy who was going to get the most bitches, right? That motherfucker was going to pull your bitch, right? Just off a big, charismatic personality. But because of things which we'll talk about, good looks will have more power than ever before in 2026. You're seeing this a lot. There's this guy, Clavicular, who's going very viral on social media, streamers. Women are now looking up to this as like, this is what's hot, this is what's fashionable. And women look to what other women value. And you're seeing these guys, like Clavicular and these other influencers and stuff like that. And it's, dating's becoming more virtual. We'll talk about that later on in the video. And another thing too, if girls aren't being directly paid, if they're not like a hooker or a hooker in denial or a sugar baby, then because there's so much misandry content, they generally have such a low opinion of men, and personality doesn't bode as well for you in terms of attracting women as it used to be, because they're kind of brainwashed to hate men in the first place. Women are going to want an insane physical specimen because they kind of hate men anyway. If your feed isn't like, I feel lucky for you if your feed, your TikTok isn't like saturated with, misandry. Misandry means hating men, by the way. It's like men are suck, men are trash, men are useless, whatever. So if they kind of hate men and they're not getting paid, the only thing really left is looks. They're going to want like the max gorgeous, like male specimen. Also, women are becoming more masculine, and being superficial and caring about looks is a masculine trait. Us men, we are insanely superficial. Looks is the #1 factor for us. Women are becoming more masculine, and therefore looks will become very important to them. Unfortunate news for horrendously ugly motherfuckers like me, right? I'm not horrendously ugly. I just haters say that in my comments. But anyway, I'm about a 6 out of 10. Cold approach and charisma will still be very valuable in 2026. I don't want to poo-poo it, but as I was saying before, it won't be nearly as brainwashed. It won't be nearly as important as it was before, because like I said, girls are going to be brainwashed to want these guys on social media, these fitness influencers, like her feed, just kind of like, look, guys, we do it too, right? Like your feed, you're not seeing too many average looking women on your TikTok or your Instagram feed, right? You're seeing mostly beautiful women. Women are seeing mostly beautiful men. They're going to start comparing the average guy to that, not realizing that, like, dude, I go to the gym. I'm not going to tell you, like, you guys can roast me in the comments. It's fine. I'm used to it. But like, I've been training 4 to 5 days, going so hard in the gym that I want to like pass out and die. Trainers, tracking calories, creatine, focusing on sleep, all that for like 20 years. And like, this is the best I got. Like, most guys don't even have the genetics to even get there. Also, in online dating, people meet more often just based on mutual physical attraction or status attraction, right? So a few guys that are rich will continue to crush it. They'll have the insane freedom to just work on their charisma all day, and they'll do day game, and they will encounter this. Because when you're running a lot of volume, you can encounter women who just like you for you. Like, believe it or not, at the top of some beautiful girls list is like average height, average build, gingers with eyes that are too close together, apparently. Let me know in the comments. Are my eyes that really close together? No one ever told me that in real life until I started making content. But believe it or not, some girls like think that this is like, hot shit. And some guys will have time freedom. They're retired. They sold their tech startup and they can really focus on charisma and they'll do day game. Look, I love day game. One of the highest, like the most pure form of game, but a very low ROI. And they'll have the time to really, really get good at it, right? But game and charisma, unfortunately, will just not be as important or effective as it was once upon a time in 2026 and beyond. Next trend, more and more men are going to give up on dating, and that's good news for the rest of us, right? That is very good news for the rest of us. I wouldn't go so harsh as maybe to call it like Darwinism or like the weak being weeded out of society, because I think it's, very unfairly stacked against men. So I feel you. I feel my brothers. But more and more men are going to give up on dating entirely, which is going to leave room for the rest of us. Although a lot of women will prefer to be lonely and live with cats than live with like an average guy, right? Now, why is this? Why are more and more men going to give up on dating and thankfully for us, create more room for us? The continuing rise in misandry content. Guys would be like, well, women don't they just hate men like altogether anyway? Like, why even try? The rise in, pay for play, the continue pay for play problem, the masculinity problem of women becoming more masculine, the accountability epidemic. Women avoid accountability more than Jeffrey Epstein avoids adults. Maybe not a good joke to make, but you know what I mean. Women are allergic to accountability, guys. Okay. And it's going to cause societal problems. You're going to see more like pew-pews, right? And just, men being resentful, maybe, acts of like domestic terrorism and stuff like that. And it's not going to be a good situation for society, but it's going to leave more room for the rest of us who haven't given up. The next thing is that digital dating will continue to dominate. This is my next prediction. I don't think I should win an award for this prediction. I think a very low IQ person could also make this prediction. But yeah, digital will continue to dominate. Eventually, there'll be some new format. Dating apps are still insanely effective, and anybody who says that they aren't just lives in cope. I once upon a time was saying things like dating apps are trash, I don't use them at all anymore, and I only meet women on Instagram. I am officially reneging on that, and I am going back on it. Lately, I can't tell you why. I have had equally good, if not better, results from dating apps in recent time that I have had on Instagram. Is it the countries or particular cities I'm in? Does this translate to your dating market? I don't know. You're still fucking absolutely crazy if you don't get on Instagram also and use an like one of the greatest, not to go back and plug my service about the online dating virtual assistant thing for too long, but a great thing about that is, yes, we do the dating apps for you, but they also find girls on Instagram for you, which is a slow and manual process. So you don't just get automation on dating apps, which is something that you in theory are already doing for yourself. You get a whole new platform, which is Instagram. So you get the best dating app of all time unlocked, because you're not going to spend the required 35 to 40 minutes every morning just to find 20 beautiful girls in your area. They have small private profiles. There's no way to really no normal way, at least, to find them in mass and bulk. We have a software that does it. If you sign up for our assistant, he'll get the software to find them for you. But dating apps and Instagram, insane still. Eventually some new thing will come out where you meet people in VR, but we're not quite there yet. VR being virtual reality. There'll be like the metaverse will come back, or something will eventually replace dating apps in the next 5 years. But for now, they're still fire, and they probably will be for at least the next 3 or 4 years. Your photo shoots, your online presence, all that stuff will continue to be as important, or dare I say, even more important than your in-person presence. A direct quote from Tristan Tate is, your in-person presence these days is every bit as important as your online presence. I would go so far as to say that it's even more important, your online presence, and he would probably agree, although I can't put words into his mouth. The next prediction: nightclubs will continue to evaporate. People will just continue to meet, online, as I was saying. So again, I want to show real quick. Let's just show Mo's my editor. Show some of my camera roll photos, which is probably what most of you guys have. Selfies, car selfies, mirror selfies, just photos where you're dress well, don't look your best. All right, Mo, now show the planned photos that we have up there. So he showed the shitty photos. Now we're showing the good photos, Mo, where I'm dressed well, I'm in nice environments. All these photos have to be planned from beginning to end. And you really just have to get this handled or get left behind. If you use AI photos, they'll probably work for a little while. And then Instagram will start tagging them as AI and dating apps will start banning you. I believe as of this time right now, AI photos are working pretty well, but I don't think it's a long-term solution. I think it's a Band-Aid. And also, what are you going to do if a girl asks if your photos are AI? Are you going to lie and then later she finds out that they are and then now you start your relationship on the basis of lies? Or are you going to do admit that your profile is AI photo? So, other like my friends promote them and sell them. I don't do this yet. I may, if you guys reach out to me and twist my arm, like I know how to make the AI photos. I know how they work. I have connections to other people that, do them and stuff. But I just get like real photos and stuff like that. It's going to be a better long-term strategy. Another thing you're going to see is the rise of passport bros and then the corresponding rise in resentment from locals to passport bros. So it's still pretty good when you go to most places in Latin America, but you're going to see a continued rise of locals having resentment for passport bros. The same thing that happened in Medellin will happen all over Brazil and other places. Because why? People that are taller, more charismatic, make a lot more money, more masculine, higher IQ, etc., are coming in and taking a whole bunch of women off the market from the locals. And be honest, most of those guys just come there to trick anyway. So they're bringing a lot of sexual tourism place and they're gentrifying rents and stuff like that. So get in while the getting is good because you're going to see a rise in that. All right. Now we've arrived at the moment of truth. Here is my concise, step-by-step, applicable advice for how to survive the craziness of the new changes in the dating market in 2026 and beyond. So looks, your physical appearance, is the number one most important factor in meeting women until you reach a threshold of being a universal 6. And the same way that money is the number one factor in making yourself happy until you get to about 120, 150, maybe even 200K a year, then your happiness can go up from 200K a year to $1 million. And then after that, your happiness is probably not going to go up very much from $1 million and beyond. It's like, so if you're living in poverty, money is like the number one thing. But then after you get to a certain threshold, more money is not going to make you happy. The same thing with looks. If you at least get to what I call a universal 6, which is like, means like this, like you got a little bit of muscle mass, like you at least look like, if you punch somebody, it would like actually hurt. You're not like super scrawny. Hopefully you didn't lose a genetic lottery and you're at least, 5'8", 5'9", or taller. You don't have any weird zits on your face. You do something, you crop a beard to give the appearance of, a jawline. You whiten your teeth. You get a hair transplant. You hit the gym. And that's pretty much all of you. If you need like a small plastic, if you have this like shark fin nose and you need like, a plastic surgery, then, whatever. After that, money becomes the second most important thing, because if you can't support yourself and a woman, it's going to be extremely hard to retain women because they're just wired by social media and kind of just by evolution, let's be honest, to want rich guys. So number one, you have to focus on your looks. You must be universal 6. Get a trainer, get a chef, do whatever you do. You can't be fat. There's no excuse for a man being fat in 2026 and beyond. Like, get your fucking shit together, boys. Number two, you have to get rich. This is not a make money channel. I'm not going to teach you how to do it, but like you just have to get rich. I'm sorry to tell you. And then after that, focus on your digital presence. Again, like I said, that will continue to be one of the most important things for 2026, 2027 and beyond. Again, and then in the future, there will be some AI or VR, whatever thing that will replace it. And actually, I take back what I said earlier. Location is the number one thing that determines your results in dating. And you guys are really going to want to favor going to small towns. Those are going to be your best options, because all the things I said about groupthink, about women being brainwashed to hate men, become outright prostitutes, or do OnlyFans, or be hookers in denial. These girls that work regular 9-to-5s, they're nurses or teachers, but then their lifestyle greatly exceeds their monthly salary. All that is way better in small towns. The girls are sweeter, they're more feminine, they have these more realistic standards. Because in a small town, if you find like a good guy, you can't be a total bitch to him or blow him off. Like that was your only option. That was your best bet. There's nobody left. Girls in big cities can get a constant cock carousel of like, oh, I fucked it up with this guy and I'm comparing him to him, and this guy's offering a 10K a month salary, this guy's offering 50K, this guy's offering 20K. Girls in small towns are like, oh my God, like a good guy. Like there's small towns in like coastal Colombia where the men literally fornicate with animals. You probably won't connect very well with a girl from like a 10,000, 15,000 person, goat town in Colombia. Maybe, and especially high IQ girl from that region. I'm not saying you have to go that small, but I'm just saying if you did arrive in that 15,000 person goat town where the men literally fornicate with goats and you're the only guy not fornicating with goats, it's pretty easy to stand out and be the best option. And above all, there's just fewer good women left. So again, remember, go to my Instagram, which is RedbeardRants1, and message me the word assistant. We'll get you a trained virtual assistant who will book dates for you. No more doom swiping, no more dealing with girls that disappear mid-conversation and completely disrespect your time. I hope you guys enjoyed. That is the end of the video. Subscribe for more. Peace.